when empathy works against you. Empaths, this is an important video about knowing yourself, getting to understand empathy, because you may call yourself an empath, but are you able to protect and guard this beautiful quality that you have been gifted with? Because if not, it will be exploited, people will take advantage of your kindness, and you'll be baffled and confused, and potentially you'll keep giving only to be more baffled about why people can be so cruel and unkind. I'm your girl, Keely Taverner, psychotherapist who's passionate about helping empaths navigate complex, tricky relationships, because people aren't easy and we need to be mindful when empathy is working against you. So the inspiration for this video has come from a client who I've been working with. And today she mentioned watching a video of mine about martyrdom and how actually she could see that she'd had her own experience of overgiving and how unhelpful that could be. And so what about you? What do you understand about your own empathy? When is it working against you? Often, if you're with a narcissist, you'll already know that no matter what you do, it is never good enough. You will always be trying to win that validation. Sometimes we know you will get the crumbs. But if you're practicing martyrdom, you will unconsciously make yourself a victim. And even in spite of all the self-help reading, the YouTube watching, you will still be embroiled in behaviors that do not serve you. One of the main reasons is because we learned often from a very young age that being helpful had a currency. It may be in something that made you noticed in your family of origin. Were you that helpful child? Were you always trying, helping the adults out, and it gave you some currency, it gave you some validation? If so, it would make sense that that behavior would roll into adulthood. But by the time the narcissist gets their hands on you, they will exploit that to their advantage. And naturally, all you're going to do is what you've always done, which is to continue to give, to continue to pour out, and then be confused why you don't get the outcomes you desperately desire: to be seen, to be loved, to feel valued, to feel wanted, to be appreciated. What often happens is we become exploited. And in such situations, this is when empathy works against you. Often we may unconsciously be rewarding bad behavior. Yet if we pull back, we're crippled by guilt because we feel sorry for people. We don't trust that they may be able to find solutions to their own problems, and at times we may believe that by being kind, nice, and giving, that they'll see our worth, appreciate our good gestures, and come around to our way of thinking. But actually, this is a fine example of when empathy is working against you. As such, it will benefit you to sit with the guilt, but I'm very much aware that that will be incredibly unhelpful for you, incredibly uncomfortable. And so naturally, you're going to want to rid yourself of those uncomfortable feelings. And often this is where we resort back to our usual type, which is just not helpful to us. When you begin the therapeutic journey, you'll understand it. Many of the clients who come to me understand empathy. They understand narcissists. However, as you begin to pull back, you will get pushback, because the people who have benefited from your overgiving, you're going above and beyond this, your kindness, your gift giving, even when they've been dirty and nasty to you. When you pull back, there will be backlash, and that will be unique to you and your circumstances, especially when power dynamics are at interplay. Are there financial dynamics, living dynamics that you have to contend with? Will people have the power over you to squash you, to make your life difficult? You see, often people benefit from you being in that role. However, I know, and you know, that that may well have caused you physical health problems. It's highly likely if you hold on to your feelings, bury your feelings, you're likely to experience what I regard as emotional constipation. Your doctor might call it IBS, but all your feelings are bound up, trapped inside you, desperate to be acknowledged. But your gift giving, your empathic nature means you override how you feel in order to perpetually soothe people. Not great for your greatness. And often, as you begin to pull back on your journey of change, beginning to value your empathy, there's also like to be sanctions and punishment. Not very nice. But this is where people are trying to squash you. Because we must remember, my friends, we are teaching people how to treat us. And the shift from the old self, the perpetually giving self, to a new self whose boundaries, who is connected to their emotions and acknowledges how they feel, can be exceptionally difficult for people who are on the old tariff to accept. And as such, there may well be relationship casualties, which will cause you grief and sadness, yet it may be inevitable. Some relationships may need a regradation, my friends. You may not find that word in the dictionary. Sometimes I just have to make my own ones up to fit the circumstances as a helping professional, helping people to understand what the hell they are going through, and most importantly, the dynamics at interplay. Because if you don't understand the dreams, the aspirations you have for your precious life, they won't manifest. And if you're not careful, common mental health problems, physical health ailments will just grip you and get worse and worse and worse. The revolution will not be televised, my friend. However, what our empathy often does, it means that we attract problem-focused people. And what do? Often us empaths, we don't always believe that people can solve their problems. We believe we should solve them. This is where we get an opportunity to just demonstrate our worth by going above and beyond. But like I said, with certain people, that will keep you in the vicious loop. Problem-focused people will benefit from your solution-orientated nature. Therefore, they can chill because their problems will become yours. And what we have unintentionally created is dependency. And naturally, when we pull back, they'll be angry and annoyed. And they probably won't feel very bad about telling you about that. If you know what I'm talking about, give your girl a heart or like. You are far from on your own. This is a very serious situation and has serious repercussions on your health. I'm not even talking your mental health. I'm talking your physical health, especially when you get to the doctors and they're just going to give you tablets. Most doctors, depending on them, not all, aren't asking you about your stresses. They're not asking you about your life. They'll just give you the medication. So you're trying to solve a physical problem, but actually that may be a manifestation of the challenging situation you find yourself in. I've already used that word, emotional constipation. You have to work out whether actually you're someone who bottles up your feelings, and this has a profound impact on your body. Everything is connected. So when empathy works against you, it's a lack of boundaries that is often at play. But one of the biggest issues is we perpetually feel sorry for people. Not great for your greatness. Remember, when they were creating the problems, you often were not around, but they consult you and demand that you find the solutions. As you begin to shift through the therapeutic journey, understanding that empathy is a gift that not everybody is worthy of, my hope for you is you become more discerning about who is worthy of your kindness. But actually, before you even get that, you may need to offer that back to yourself. You may need to be empathic and kind to you first. But if you're an empath who has low self-worth, who doesn't value yourself, this will be a problem. And that's where the therapeutic aspect is so fundamental. I need to help you to understand how you regard or don't regard yourself, looking at the root cause of your ill feeling towards yourself so that you can understand where your perpetual giving qualities come from, and you can discern when it's helpful and when it's unhelpful, so you can begin to rescind, begin to pull back. And as you pull back, depending on your situation, because this is a generic video, but it's also, your situation is unique to you, your circumstance, your culture, your race, your financial position. Every session I have is bespoke to the individual. This isn't a cookie cutter process. But when you begin that journey and you begin to understand the levels, the dynamics that are at interplay here, believe me, it frees up your energy. A friend yesterday told me, Keely, why don't you do more optimistic videos, more videos that are positive and inspirational? The reality is, the situation my clients find themselves are complex. And if I'm truthful, people are not always wanting to go public about the work they do with me. And that is totally understandable. It's private. So I do not have plethoras of videos of testimonies of the victories that people have, but those victories live in my heart. And my own life, my own transformation is fundamental. If you want to know my story, go to the Key for Change website and you'll work out how I left school with no education, no qualifications, and I radically turned my life around through self-help reading, and I used education as a transformational aspect of my journey. So when you begin to understand and protect your empathy, using it appropriately, you free up your energy for the dreams and aspirations you may have for your life. But for many of my empaths who are early in the therapeutic journey, we don't even have a vision or a dream for our lives, because our lives are so consumed by helping and supporting everybody else. If they come first, naturally, you must come last. So we begin to cultivate and ponder on, what do you like? What do you enjoy? What have you abandoned in your own life? What is the vision you have for your future? Ask yourself, what do you actually want for your future? What is your greatest dream and ambition? You may be surprised to know there is so much that you can do to begin to walk in that direction. However, if your empathy is perpetually tied up in going above and beyond, helping everybody else, exploiting your energy, my dear friends, there is no one else to blame but ourselves. The caveat is that we didn't know any better. We were doing what we have always done. So what you do need, and what you may often lack because you give compassion to everybody else and not you, is you need that compassion for you, to help lift you, to help bring you up. And this, I believe, is very difficult to do alone. You need companionship, you need support, and that's exactly what I'm here to offer you. Companionship, support, self-insight and self-awareness, so you can begin to make empowered, informed decisions. Now, depending on your situation, you may not be able to just cut and run. I get it. But whatever situation you find yourself in, there are always tiny, small actions that you can take to help and support yourself. I do hope this video has been of benefit to you, my empaths. We've been talking about when empathy works against you. If you've got any comments or likes, or you might benefit from one session with me to explore your life, check the links below. Your future may well depend on it. Do take care of you, because if you don't, no one's coming to save you. You must learn to save your precious self. Peace.